Imagine you have spent a lifetime building a fortress, not just of wealth, but of privacy. You have the encrypted devices, the biometric locks, and the private security detail. You believe that inside your inner circle, you are untouchable. Then, a notification arrives. It isn't a ransom note or a clumsy phishing link. It is a formal communication from a person you trust, a legal partner, a wealth manager, or perhaps a peer within your exclusive network. They mention a private investment, a sensitive legal matter, or a luxury acquisition that requires your immediate attention. You follow the protocol. You provide the authorization. And just like that, the fortress hasn't been breached from the outside. You've handed over the keys from within. The question is no longer, how do they get in? The question is, how did they make you believe they were already there? In 2026, the greatest threat to the elite isn't a masked hacker in a basement. It is a sophisticated class of social engineers who specialize in the architecture of trust. Today, we are exposing the billionaire's bunker paradox. As the world's most powerful individuals retreat behind physical and digital walls, they have inadvertently created a new vulnerability and reliance on exclusive, closed-loop communication. This video will deconstruct the high-stakes tactics used to infiltrate the private lives of the ultra-wealthy, tactics that are now trickling down to target anyone with a digital footprint and a reputation to protect. We are moving past the era of simple scams and into the era of precision-engineered deception. Consider the case of a chief financial officer we will call Elena. Elena is disciplined. She has undergone cybersecurity training. She knows not to click suspicious links. One Tuesday afternoon, Elena receives a video invitation from her CEO. The CEO is currently in Zurich for a private summit. When the camera turns on, the likeness is perfect. The voice, the cadence, the subtle facial tics, everything matches the man she has worked with for 15 years. He speaks quietly, citing a sensitive acquisition that must remain off the books to avoid market manipulation. He mentions a specific boutique law firm they've used before. He asks Elena to authorize a transfer of $18 million to a holding account to secure the deal before the markets open in New York. Elena asks a clarifying question about the project's code name. The CEO smiles, references a joke from a private dinner they had 3 months ago, and confirms the details. Elena executes the transfer. 48 hours later, the real CEO returns from Zurich. He never made the call. The video Elena saw was a Deepfake 2.0, a real-time AI-driven mask mapped onto the perpetrator's face, fed by hours of the CEO's public speeches and leaked internal Zoom footage. The attackers didn't break her encryption. They hijacked her reality. They used her loyalty, her professional pressure, and her history with the CEO as the ultimate exploit. To understand why this works, we must look at the 3 pillars of high-end social engineering. First, the information harvest. Criminals no longer guess, they curate. Using open-source intelligence, social media, property records, and previous data breaches, they map out a target's bunker. They know who your children are, where you vacation, and which assistant handles your scheduling. Second, the illusion of exclusivity. Elite scams thrive on the private channel. By framing a request as a secret or confidential matter, the attacker discourages the victim from seeking a second opinion. They exploit the human desire to be part of an inner circle, making the victim feel that by following a special protocol, they are proving their value. Third, synthetic authority. We are entering a period where seeing is no longer believing. Generative AI can now replicate voices with a 3-second sample and simulate live video. When an authority figure, a bank director, a government official, or a business partner appears on your screen, your brain is hardwired to trust the visual and auditory evidence over your intuition. The irony is that the more private we try to be, the more we rely on digital intermediaries. We trust the encrypted app, but we forget to verify the human on the other end of the connection. It's a common misconception that only the uninformed fall for scams. In reality, intelligence can be a liability. High-achieving individuals are often decisive and accustomed to managing complex, fast-moving situations. Attackers use this against them by creating a manufactured crisis. When you are told a multi-million-dollar deal will collapse in 10 minutes unless you act, your executive brain takes over, prioritizing speed over verification. Furthermore, those with status often have a reputation shield. They are less likely to admit they are confused or to report a suspicious interaction for fear of appearing incompetent or vulnerable. But this isn't just about billionaires. As these technologies become cheaper and more accessible, the same tactics are being used against small business owners, families managing inheritances, and professionals in every sector. If you have something to lose, you have a bunker. And if you have a bunker, someone is looking for the door. Protection in this new era requires a shift in mindset. You must replace trust but verify with verify before trust. First, establish a duress protocol. Within your family or business, have a pre-agreed upon safe word or a non-digital verification method. If a high-stakes request comes in, ask for the phrase. No AI can guess a phrase that has never been written down or spoken digitally. Second, follow the out-of-band rule. If you receive an urgent request via an app, even if it's a video call, terminate the connection and call the person back on a known, separate line. Never use the contact information provided within the suspicious message itself. Third, minimize your digital shadow. Be conscious of the lifestyle data you share. Details about your routines, your vendors, or your inner circle are the raw materials for an impersonation attack. Finally, normalize friction. We have been taught that technology should be seamless. In security, friction is your friend. If a process feels too easy or too fast for the amount of money or data involved, stop. Share these protocols with your staff, your partners, and your family members. The goal is to make the cost of targeting you too high for the attacker to pursue. The bunker is an illusion. True security does not come from the walls we build around us, but from the skepticism we maintain within. As technology blurs the line between the real and the synthetic, your awareness is the only firewall that cannot be bypassed. If you found this investigation valuable, share it with those you intend to protect. Awareness is our collective defense. Subscribe to this channel as we continue to deconstruct the hidden threats of the digital age. The fortress is only as strong as the person holding the keys. Make sure you know